Welcome, everybody. Welcome to our town hall on leveraging the power of LinkedIn. My name is Mike Eilon. I am the CEO of Greek University. I promise that you will get an interactive session today with our expert on LinkedIn. She is Debra Jason. Debra is a professional marketing speaker. She is an author. She is a direct response copywriter and a multifaceted marketing mentor. She had started her entrepreneurial journey when she opened her doors for business as a writer in 1989. Since then, she has personally written thousands upon thousands of words for hundreds of clients all over the country and some overseas as well. Debra is the author of the award-winning book, Millionaire Marketing on a Shoestring Budget: How to Attract a Steady Stream of Happy Clients, Make More Money, and Live Your Dream. Welcome to the town hall, Debra.
Thank you for that wonderful introduction, Michael. It's a pleasure to be here virtually.
Absolutely. Well, we're all doing it right now, right? In the time of coronavirus, this is what it looks like, our meetings.
This is what it looks like, you know, and it's fun.
Absolutely. So I had a couple of questions for you before we get to your presentation, which I know is going to be very interactive, and you're going to show us your screen and what you're doing on LinkedIn. So I'm really looking forward to this. But you're the author of Millionaire Marketing on a Shoestring Budget. So you clearly see the value of attracting a steady stream of happy clients and the nice book as described in your book. So what is the best way to market and expose yourself to prospects without that hardcore sales pitch? That's what everybody's trying to avoid.
Well, my philosophy is it's not just the best way, but it's the most fun way. And right now it's shifted a little bit, and that is by speaking. Because speaking, when I first started my business in 1989, there was no internet, there was no social media. And I found that going out and speaking about my topic, my area of expertise, helped me gain visibility, helped me gain exposure. It also helped me gain credibility. So right now, usually what I tell people is go to your Chamber of Commerce, ask them if you could speak there, go to Rotary clubs. Right now, you can still reach out to those people if they're doing virtual meetings, such as we're doing today. Mm-hmm. So if you have a topic, something of value, this isn't about going out and pitching yourself. It's about sharing LinkedIn tips, sharing marketing tips, whatever your area of expertise is. Contact someone and see if you can be a guest. What I would recommend is there's something called the radio guest list, which is online, and you can go there. There's, I think, a paid version and a free version, and you can see they'll email you weekly with possible opportunities where you can speak.
I love it. And everybody's an expert in something, so I think that makes a lot of sense to me. So I have a ton of friends, I have colleagues, and even college students that hear me speak on stage. And these people, many of them do not have a presence on LinkedIn at all. Many of them don't see the value of having a LinkedIn page. So what are the 6 top reasons that social media should be in your marketing toolbox?
In your toolbox? Well, actually, I'm going to show you a screen on this because I think it'll make it a lot easier for people to see. Let's go over here and here. Can everyone see?
Yep.
Let me get my little switcher. There we go. So every day, more and more people are engaging on LinkedIn, and they're doing so on a regular basis. So here's some good reasons for you to be there, because one, LinkedIn gives you the opportunity to demonstrate that you're an industry expert and that you're also a trusted advisor. It helps you build thought leadership by being a voice for those of you who are on the call in the education industry. But if you're not in the education industry, you can be the thought leader, whatever industry you're in. The beautiful thing is it enables deeper engagement. I'm really big, and you'll hear throughout this presentation, on engagement, but it builds deeper engagement with your community. And then LinkedIn, 73% of the people who are on LinkedIn are there to network. So you get the opportunity to network with like-minded professionals. It's not always just about a lot of people say, I want to find clients, I want to find leads. It's not always about that. It's about building relationships, because sometimes that person you build a relationship with could give you a great referral, if not the project that you're looking for. So nurture those relationships. Then one of the best reasons is to get involved and develop what I call the KLT factor, which is the know, like, and trust factor. If you've ever read Bob Berg and John David Mann's The Go-Giver series, in their series, they talk about all things being equal, people do business with and refer business to people they know, like, and trust. And LinkedIn gives you the opportunity to nurture that. And then another reason is on LinkedIn in particular, you can open the doors to receiving up to 40 times more opportunities on the network if you have what we call a complete profile. And we're going to talk about that today.
Wow, this is really great. All right, well, you've totally convinced me here. Let's start leveraging that power of LinkedIn now.
Of LinkedIn?
Yeah.
Well, the first thing I want to ask and have people type into the chat box is, do you currently have a LinkedIn profile?
Oh, yes.
For those who are tuning in today, yes or no?
All right, I'm seeing a lot of yeses here. It seems like a lot of people have a LinkedIn profile from what we're seeing here.
Awesome.
So I think we're in good shape. At least people have a profile.
Well, many people that have a profile feel like this. And some people that don't have a profile feel like this, and that's why they don't have one. People get confused and frustrated. They got online because a friend invited them to the network, and they put up what they thought was a complete profile, but it's not very complete. So as more and more people search for you before they meet you, whether they're meeting you virtually or in person, you're in a position to win or lose given what they see when they get to your LinkedIn profile and your activity there. The thing I want you to keep in mind is, as I've already mentioned, that being social on LinkedIn is about getting engaged. Okay, it's about building and nurturing relationships and developing that KLT factor. When you do that, when you do it successfully, then you're going to open the doors to more opportunities. Now, this statistic comes from LinkedIn, and they say that you can receive up to 40 times more opportunities, but you need what we call a complete, what I call robust and optimized profile. So that means more than just putting up your name and your title. And we're going to go into that. And the way we're going to go through this is to talk about mistakes that people make on LinkedIn. We're going to do it as a game show. So I want you all to be by your keyboards and type into the chat box. I'm going to put up a slide. The name of the game is called Fact or Fiction. So when I put up a slide, I want you to type in the chat box what you think it is, fact or fiction. And I will warn you, there's a couple of trick questions. So if everyone's ready, here's fact or fiction number 1. LinkedIn profiles with photos get 78 times more views. Fact or fiction?
All right, it's coming in fast and furious. So far, many people are saying that it's fact. I don't see anybody saying it's fiction.
Okay, well, this is your first trick question.
Oh, no.
So the mistake people make is that they don't have a photo, or they have a very poor photo. If you think about it, I'm single, so I liken it sort of to the dating world. When you get to a site and there's no photo, you swipe left. Okay, this was a client of mine. Her profile no longer looks like this, but she gave me permission to use it because this is what it looked like in the beginning. Here's the correct statistic. When you have a photo, you don't get 78 times more views, but you're likely to get 14 to 21 times more views.
Got it.
Staying with the topic of photos, here's the next fact or fiction. It only takes 100 milliseconds to form an impression of somebody just by looking at a photo of their face. Fact or fiction?
All right, we're going to start filling in our chat box here. So looks like everybody is thinking that it's a fact, maybe a little bit less sure after that trick question on the first one.
Well, that keeps you on your toes.
Yes,
So yes, it is a fact. And a study that was done by 2 psychologists at Princeton said that 80 to 90% of that first impression, it's really 2 impressions. They are looking at your image and going, are you trustworthy and are you confident? So this young woman in the photo here, she looks fun, she looks quirky, but does she look trustworthy and competent if you were going to do business with her? So fact or fiction number 3. This is an actual photo on someone's LinkedIn profile.
All right, I guess we'll publish our answers here. People are saying fact, probably true.
Most people do say fact because it's so absurd that you think, oh my God. But yes, now the question is this man an actor, an accountant, a comedian, or a hacker?
Wow.
So type in the chat box, what do you think this gentleman does for a living?
All right. We have a few people here are saying that he looks like a hacker. The symbol of the hacking group is anonymous. One person said, Tish said that it's an accountant, and Janet and John say actor. So we're kind of all over the board here.
You're all over the board, but Tish got it right. He is an accountant.
Oh, wow.
And so would you want to do business with him? Does that look trustworthy and competent? My theory about that image is that maybe he wants you to think that he will help you hide stuff on your tax returns. So he's got a mask on. I don't know if that's the case or not. But the point is this the image you want to portray? These are all real LinkedIn photos. I don't show them to make fun of people. I show them as a learning lesson, because the gentleman on the left that looks like a child up in the upper left, that person's an eye doctor. Now, he's not even a pediatric eye doctor, and the little boy doesn't even have glasses on. Maybe he's wearing contact lenses, but why does he use that image?
Right.
As opposed to the woman in the upper right, many people say it looks like a mugshot, and she's a screenwriter and a playwright. So keep that in mind. You want to convey a professional image. It doesn't, a lot of people say to me, well, do I have to go out and get a professional photographer? No, you can take, put on something nice, stand with a nice backdrop behind you, either a colored wall, or if you're outside, don't make it too distracting. No sunglasses, no dog photos. I had one client once, I said, you need a better photo. And here's what he did. He took his wedding photo, him and his bride, and he cropped out the bride. That does not bode well for the bride, nor does it show you as a professional. So keep that in mind. So here's fact or fiction, the next slide. Keyword phrases are only important on a website. You don't have to worry about them on your LinkedIn profile.
All right, so we're going to go into the chat box and put in our answers. Do we think that is fact or fiction? We have fiction. Tish says totally fiction. I agree with Tish. I think she's absolutely correct. Everyone is saying fiction.
Okay, well, you are correct. It is fiction. So the mistake that people make is they don't use keyword phrases in their profile. So what you're looking at here is this gentleman said he was the owner at ABC Wines. Owner and founder are not keyword phrases unless, let's say you have a startup business and you want to be found maybe by angel investors or venture capital firms, excuse me. So think about, what I want you to keep in mind is, what would somebody search if they don't know your name and they don't know your company name? Okay, what would they be looking for? And you're going to want to put these keyword phrases in 6 places. What we're looking at right now is what's called the professional headline. And your professional headline should share a little bit about if you have a tagline or a positioning statement, but then have keyword phrases in it. And I'll give you an example shortly. Keyword phrases highlight what you're excited about now, or what you might want to be doing in the future. If there are any students that are on the call and they're going, well, I haven't really had a job yet. Well, maybe you're into biochemistry, or maybe you're into aeronautic engineering. So think about specific keyword phrases. Next, facts or fiction. Because you have a job description under the current experience section of your profile, you don't need to complete what's known as the summary or the about section. Fact or fiction?
All right, I'm going to put my answer in there. And it's starting to come back fiction. Anybody disagree? No. Everybody says fiction.
Okay, but here's a mistake that many people make. They don't fill out the summary or the about section. Now, this is Angela, who is one of my clients before we worked together. And I want to point actually a few things out on this image because there's several things that are important to remember. So one, she did not have a summary or about section at all. The other thing I want you to notice about this is the blue constellation background. That is valuable real estate. Okay, put an image in there, but don't just put an image. You want to put an image that has contact information on it. So your website, your email, your phone number, however you want to be contacted. It's not clickable, but imagine this. It's really easy for someone to see as soon as they get to your profile. They don't have to click that little contact info button. So that's one thing I want you to see on this image. The next thing I want you to see is Angela in her name field. She had Angela Gaffney, keynote speaker, corporate wellness. According to LinkedIn, your name field should just be your name. Now, if you have some kind of designation like a PhD or an MA, something like that, that's fine. You can put it in the name field. But the keyword phrases she had up there should be down in her professional headline, which right now says the Daily Essentials Cookbook Collection Breakfast. Not very keyword enhanced unless you wanted to be found for cookbooks. So now I'll show you the next slide where she has her summary and she has all these things corrected. So you can see now she has the background image. It has her website, her email, her phone number. And by the way, for those of you who are thinking, I'm not a designer, I can't do that, you can. You can go to Canva, C-A-N-V-A, canva.com. There's a free version and you can create a background banner just like Angela's. Next, you'll notice Angela has under her name, her name is just her name. No longer does she have anything else in there. But under her name in her professional headline, she has wellness keynote speaker, not just keynote speaker. Because if you search keynote speaker, you can imagine how many results you get. So she was more specific. Then she has specializing in nutrition and stress management and work-life balance. All those are keywords for her. And now you see she has a summary section. Now, very important in the summary section, you have 2,000 characters. Please don't write one really long paragraph. Break it up into short paragraphs. You can see Angela here has, there's actually more than what I'm showing on the screen, but you can see there's short paragraphs. And you'll notice she incorporates keywords. So she's a wellness keynote speaker. In her first sentence, she says, as a wellness expert. Then what I want you to remember as well is your summary should be a little bit about you and your story, but then how you help other people. You're going to write this in the first person and make it somewhat conversational. Okay, this is the place for people to find out a little bit about you, but how you help people. So in Angela's second line, she says, after surviving a health crisis that nearly took my life, that's a little bit about her. But then she says, now I empower others with wellness strategies. Wellness, again, is a keyword for her. And she says to achieve health, manage their stress, which is something that's a keyword, and create balance in life. So keep in mind when you're doing your summary section, and it used to be always called the summary section. Now, if you go to your LinkedIn profile, they call it about. But I want you to use short paragraphs, keyword phrases, bullet points where it's applicable, but not just bullet points because that's not very conversational. And keep in mind that it's something about you and then how you help people. Don't put in your summary section the same thing that you're going to put in your job experience. Your job experience is about what you've accomplished or achieved at that job. Okay. Fact or fiction. Customizing your LinkedIn URL helps your profile show up higher in a browser search results. Fact or fiction?
All right. I'll go to the chat, type in our answers. So far, everybody is saying fact.
It is a fact. Okay, so the mistake that many people make is on the left side of the screen, at least it's my left, I'm not sure what it is when you're looking at it. When you sign up for LinkedIn, you get a URL that looks like that. It says linkedin.com/pub/your name and a bunch of numbers. You want to customize it so that it says linkedin.com/in/your name. One, it's much easier to share and remember if you're going to put it on a business card or you're going to put it in your email signature. But then once you have that customized URL, you're likely to show up higher in a browser search results. Now on the right side of the screen, you'll see edit your public profile URL. That's where you change it on your profile. Put in your name. Don't try to make up something cute, because this is your personal profile and this is a business site. So people want to do business with you. Now, if you put your name in and you hit that save button, LinkedIn will say you're good to go, or sorry, your name is taken. So if you have a popular name, let's say it's John Doe, try John A. Doe for your middle initial. If that's still taken, try J. A. Doe. Try to do something that's a version of your name, and then hit save again, and LinkedIn will tell you if that is available. So that's how you customize your LinkedIn URL. So real quickly, let's just go over the first 4 mistakes. The first one being not having a professional photo on your profile. The next one is not optimizing that profile for keyword phrases. And again, I want to remind you, think about what someone might search. They don't know you and they don't know your name. I asked somebody that question once and he said, oh, they would search beautiful. And I'm like, beautiful? That's pretty broad. And he said, well, I'm a photographer. And I'm like, oh, well, they might search beautiful photography, but chances are they might search something like nature photographer or wedding photographer or school photographer for school portraits. So try to be more specific. The mistake number 3 is not completing your summary or your about section. And mistake number 4 is not customizing your LinkedIn URL. So let's go on to the next fact or fiction, which is listing skills that you want to be endorsed for is a waste of time on LinkedIn. Fact or fiction?
All right, we're starting to slowly get some answers here. Looks like everybody is saying this is fiction.
It is fiction. So it is important to have skills on your LinkedIn profile. Now, many people don't fill it in, and LinkedIn used to autofill it just with things they found on your profile. You want to be specific. Again, this is another place to put keyword phrases. Yeah, you get up to 50 skills that you can put onto your profile. I don't recommend using all 50 because for a few reasons. First, it's only the 3 that show up when somebody first gets to your profile. They can click a button from once they're there that says see more, and you can actually move those skills around. So whatever you want to be endorsed for the most, put those those 3 at the top. Now, when you have at least 5 skills, then LinkedIn says you get about a 17% increase in profile views, and you also get an increase in how many people will contact you or how often people contact you. A really important thing about skills is that it builds your social proof, okay? So viewers can see not only are you endorsed for that skill, but they can see who's endorsing you. Is it somebody in your industry as well? And this gives you an edge if you're looking for job opportunities in particular. Now, I'm showing you this because what I want you to understand is that skills are different than getting recommendations. So being endorsed for a skill on LinkedIn means somebody pushes a button on your profile that says, I endorse Debra for professional speaking, as opposed to what Angela wrote here, which is a recommendation. Now, you can go to somebody's profile if you're connected to them and write them a recommendation. Or you can go to someone's profile and request that they write you a recommendation, okay? So this is another example of a recommendation versus an endorsement, from Carolyn, who attended one of my LinkedIn programs. Now, the next fact or fiction. The biggest mistake professionals make on LinkedIn is treating it like a dating site.
All right, we're starting to get some responses here. This one, I think we might be split on. I think there are some that are saying fact, and then there are some saying fiction. It looks like we have about a 50-50 split on this one.
Well, this is another trick question, because While it is a mistake that some people make, it's not the biggest mistake. What I say, I have twice, I forget how many years now I've been on LinkedIn, but it's been some time, but only twice in all those years have I ever received what appeared to be sort of a dating request. And it happened, both were very similar. So in both cases, the gentleman said to me, I'm a widower and I have 3 kids and I'm looking for a mother and a wife, somebody to take care of my children. And I said, this is not a dating site. Swipe left and deleted them. Okay. So LinkedIn is not the place to be doing that. Go to Match.com, go to Bumble, whatever your favorite site is, but don't be trying to hit on somebody on LinkedIn. For those of you that are watching, I do have a 10-point checklist. This is really helpful when you're looking at your LinkedIn profile after this program to remind you what kinds of things should I be looking at? What should I be changing or adding or putting on my LinkedIn profile? So if you go to this URL, it's rightdirection.com/LinkedIn-10-point-checklist. If you want to type that in the chat box, you can, but I'll show you the slide again. So LinkedIn 10-point checklist with dashes in between. But I don't want to leave without telling you or asking you what you think is the biggest mistake you see people make on LinkedIn. If anybody wants to type into the chat box what they think the biggest mistake is, I'd love to hear what you have to say.
All right, so people are starting to type in some answers on what they think is the biggest mistake on LinkedIn. The one that I wrote, just to get things started, I feel like the biggest mistake a lot of people do is just not getting testimonials. I feel like that's an underutilized area of LinkedIn. Tish says not posting every day. So she likes a lot of activity to get more people to see her profile. Victor says reaching a plateau among their network, not expanding or making new connections.
Those are all awesome. I think they're all good and there are mistakes that people make, but here's what I say is the biggest mistake, and that is not personalizing your connection request. So usually when I'm in a room giving this program and I say to people, how many of you receive requests from people you don't know? And most everybody in the room raises their hand. And most of the time, the reason they don't know what to do with that request is it's not personalized. Somebody says, oh, Michael, join my network.
Right.
Okay, so here's what I want people to do. When you want to connect with somebody, first, go to their profile, okay? Sometimes you'll see when you're on LinkedIn, here's people who have viewed your profile, or here's people who viewed profiles like yours. Don't click on the connect button from there. And by the way, there's a caveat here. This is when you're on your desktop or your laptop. I'm going to talk about your smartphone or your tablet in a second. But go to their profile and then hit connect, and you'll see this box that you're seeing on the screen right now, which says people are more likely to connect with you if you give them a personal note. So your homework after you hang up today is to go to my LinkedIn profile and to connect with me and to write a personal note that's simple. It just says, Debra, I heard you speak on Michael's program today. I loved your LinkedIn tips. I'd like to stay in touch with you. Okay, short and sweet. It does, but think about it. When you've gotten an invitation from someone you don't know and they haven't personalized the request, you're going, who is this person? Or, gee, that person looks familiar. Did I meet them online or on a conference or something? So take the time to do that. Now, if you're on your phone or your iPad, it's a little bit different. I want you to go to that person's profile, but do not click on connect, okay? You'll see there's a little box that says more with 3 dots. When you click on that more button, you'll see what you're seeing on the other side of the screen, which is a drop-down menu that then says personalize the invite, okay? That's how you reach out to someone. Short and sweet message that just says, I want to stay in touch with you. I heard you speak somewhere, or we met at a conference before the virus hit, and I want to stay in touch.
So is
Because
that basically the best advice, is to just reinforce where you met this person, so that way it's not somebody that's out of the blue that doesn't know you? Is that really what we should be putting in there?
well, so yes, if you've met them, that's because sometimes I've done a program and somebody sends me a request and I go, maybe they were attending my program, but I'm not quite sure. And so here's what I tell you to do. I don't think I put up the slide for this, but when you get a request from someone you don't know, don't ignore it, don't accept it, okay? Go to their profile first, check them out. Say, oh, who is this Michael person? Oh, looks like Michael and I have 20 connections in common. Oh, Michael is the head of the Greek University. He speaks. There's some commonalities here. Maybe I would like to stay connected to Michael. But even then, I say, don't accept the invitation. What I say is reply, but don't accept. So when you're on your LinkedIn profile, at the top of your profile, there's a black navigation bar and it says My Network. When you click on that, you'll see people who have sent you invitations. If you click on the button in the upper right that says See All, so you can see all the invitations, there's another button that says Message. So I could message Michael, and this is what I do. I message Michael, okay, I don't accept, I don't ignore, I message him and I say, Michael, thanks so much for reaching out. But I'm curious, were you referred to me by somebody or were you simply searching LinkedIn? It helps me to know how people connect with me. I look forward to hearing from you. Now, the reason I do that is because, as I said early on in this program, LinkedIn is about building and nurturing relationships. It's about starting conversations. So now if you sent me a request and I send you that message and you don't respond to me, my first thought is, then why did you reach out? I'm trying to start a conversation with you. Why did you reach out now if you're not going to respond? And I think for some people, they think it's the numbers that are important. I got to build my connections. I want to have, lots and lots of connections. I say it's not about the quantity, it's about the quality. Because even if you have 5,000 connections, 10,000 connections, are you really going to build and nurture relationships with all those people? Most likely not.
No.
So that's my tip when it comes to personalizing your request or getting requests from people that you don't know, is start that conversation, okay, and see what happens. So here are some of the mistakes that we covered today. And the good news is even if you've made these mistakes, they are easy to fix. So include a professional photo, okay? Remember, again, no sunglasses, no puppy pictures unless you're a dog groomer. So it has to be appropriate for what you do for your career. Keyword phrases in 6 places, and so I'll outline those 6. The first one is your professional headline. The second place is your summary or your about section. The third place is your current experience. Now, actually, in your current experience, there's 2 places within that. One is in your job title. So, for example, if you're a director, don't just put director. Put director of international studies. Be more specific. And then the other spot is in the description. Many people forget to include a description with their job. They just put in the company that they worked at, their title, and the dates. Use the description field because you can put in keyword phrases there. So that's the third place. The fourth place is your past experience. LinkedIn likes you to have at least 2 jobs on your profile. And when I say they like it, it's because when they're searching, and I don't profess to know their algorithms specifically, but when they are looking at whether or not you're relevant for what somebody is searching, and they're looking at that as well. How many endorsements, how many skills, how many recommendations, things like that. So again, in the past experience, your job title and the description. So far I told you the professional headline, the summary, your current experience, your past experience. The 5th place for your keyword phrases is in your skills. So again, specific skills that people can endorse you for. The 6th place is something most people don't see or even know about. That's in your contact section where it says contact info. You get up to 3 website links to put in that section. So some people don't put anything in, but if they do, they make the mistake of using LinkedIn's default menu, which says company blog, personal blog, but you can put a keyword phrase in there. So the way you do that is when you get the drop-down menu, it will say other. If you select other, then it has a box that opens up and says explain. So that's where you put the keyword phrase in. Okay. Now, the other thing about website links is, like I said, you get 3 of them. So some people go, I only have one website, but you probably have more than one page on your website. So take people to 3 different pages of that website with 3 different links. So those are the 6 places for you to put your keyword phrases strategically. Then, of course, complete the about summary section. Again, write it in first person. You have 2,000 characters, a little bit about who you are, and then how you help people, and incorporate keyword phrases. By the way, when I keep mentioning keyword phrases, this is not about stuffing it. It's about being appropriate and using those phrases where it makes sense. So for example, I had a client, we were working on his profile, and he had his current experience was in the hospitality industry. His past experience was working in a relocation company, moving people from Boulder, Colorado to New York to work for IBM, so corporate. And he's like, what do those 2 things have in common? Well, what we found out that they had in common was customer service. And that was a keyword phrase for him. So, you know, look into it, see if you can make it work. If not, you don't have to fake it to make it. Just put down what's authentic and what's true for you. Don't forget to customize your LinkedIn URL. List specific skills you want to be endorsed for, and personalize those LinkedIn connection requests. Now, I'm talking a lot about the things you can do, but people say to me, so what's this going to do for me? First thing is, keep in mind, LinkedIn doesn't do anything for you. You have to do the work. It's like joining a chamber of commerce, okay? You don't just pay your dues and sit back. You have to get involved and engaged. So here are some results that people have gotten. This was a marketing student who was an intern for a hockey team, and she wrote some long form articles on LinkedIn. She got thousands of clicks and views, and as a result, she was approached by professionals in the sports industry. So that was awesome for her. This was an author who wanted to speak at a writers' conference, but he didn't know how to find the director or reach out to the director. He found that person on LinkedIn, sent them a connection request. Very important. He nurtured the relationship. He didn't just send a request saying, hey, I want to speak at your conference. First, he connected, nurtured that relationship, and then was asked to join the faculty. So very important to remember about building and nurturing relationships. Here's some more results, and I share these. These are more tied to financial success, but the way that people had this happen is really important to take note of. So, for example, the first person connected with a former colleague. Okay, they hadn't been in touch in a long time. He didn't end up getting this account with that colleague, but the colleague said, oh, I didn't know that's what you were doing now. I'm going to refer you to somebody who might be a good client for you. And it was a $70 million account. So because he connected with a former colleague, that colleague then referred him. You might remember earlier I said, you know, it's not always about finding that exact client, but somebody you connect with could be a good connection for a referral. This person connected with alumni. So for many of you who are in this field of, you know, executive directors of fraternities and sororities, connecting with alumni is a really valuable way to find people on LinkedIn. This person in particular, when he searched his alumni, there were so many results for his university that he then narrowed it down with a filter. And he put in something in the filter that was an interest of his, which actually happened to be architecture. So he got fewer responses that way, which was more approachable for him. Again, he did not get 33 clients overnight, but he connected with some new people that he could nurture those relationships with, and then built his business that way. And then this one is by sharing valuable content. Very important. Somebody, I think you said, Michael, in the comments when I asked, you know, what's a mistake people make, somebody I think said, you kind of plateau because you're not doing anything. You're not getting involved. So you want to share content, not sales pitches. Okay, you want to share valuable content. And this gentleman did that, and it helped him. He was a contractor. It helped him expand his base of subcontractors and vendors. And you can share two ways. You can share what's called a post or an update, which is something short and brief. You can share somebody else's post. If you're on LinkedIn and you see something of value and you go, oh, I want to share that, you can click the share button. Or you can write what's called a long form article, which is like writing a blog, but it lives on your LinkedIn profile. If you have a blog, you can take something that you posted on your blog and put that in as a long form article. And you can do it two ways. You can take the whole thing and say, this was originally posted on my website, or you can just do a teaser, take a section of that blog, put a teaser in it as a long form article, and then say, for the rest of the article, go to my website. In almost all cases, although LinkedIn doesn't like it, LinkedIn likes you to stay on LinkedIn, but your goal is really to build your relationships on your website. Okay, so those are some of the results that people have gotten. And what I want to offer to those who are listening today is I do, as you saw, LinkedIn one-on-one consultations. So if you have a profile and you're going, I'm not sure what to do with this or how to update it or what to change, I spend 2 hours with you and we go over your profile. You make sure it's optimized for keyword phrases. I talk about how you're engaging and answer any questions that you have. It's a $400 value, but for people that respond before May 11th, I offer $150 off. So it's only $250. And to do that, you need to email me and we'll make that commitment. You don't have to do it. You don't have to do the one-on-one by May 11th. You just need to commit by that day in order to get the special pricing. Keith, who did this, said he learned more in 2 hours working with me than he did in 6 months. So real quickly, I want to remind you, here's where you can get the LinkedIn checklist. It's rightdirection.com/LinkedIn-10-point-checklist. But before we go, I want you to write one more thing in the chat box. And that is, what's one change that you're going to make to maximize your LinkedIn experience? So maybe it's you're going to put in a summary section that you didn't have before. Maybe you're going to rethink your keyword phrases and pay more attention to what is more specific for what you're doing. So write down just one thing.
So far, we have adding more keywords into the 6 spots that you've outlined. We have Janet said engage valuable content. Victor said posting more often and rethinking keyword phrases. Stephanie said using the keywords. Tish, also keywords in 6 spots. John, keywords in 6 spots. I think that was the big revelation for me.
That seems the big takeaway.
That was
a lot
of
people, even when I got on LinkedIn, the very first time many years ago, I didn't know either. I used owner or founder of The Right Direction, which is my company. But over time, as I started to learn more and more about the network, I changed that. And that's the beauty of the internet and of LinkedIn, is you can change those things. I was in a program where somebody is with the SBA, and he recently changed his professional headline to say that he can talk to you about the PPP and the EIDL and all the various things that people have questions about right now. So you can change those things as well, but it's really important to keep those keyword phrases in mind. So I'm glad that's a big takeaway for everyone. So real quickly, I'll go back one slide so you can see what this URL is, because this checklist is really valuable when you're sitting down and looking. You're going, what were those 6 places again? What should I do? So check that out. And then I think we've covered it all. If you have some questions, if we have time, Michael, we can answer some questions.
Yeah, I think that'd be great. If anyone has any questions, please put that in the chat, and then we can certainly ask Debra right now live. You can get an answer right away. My question is, how often should we be posting? I know that we talked about sharing valuable content. Is that like an everyday thing? Is that once a week? What do you recommend?
I used to say every day, but I don't anymore because we all have lives. And so my philosophy is at least once a week, okay? And to share something that you think is of value to your audience. Some days I might share something a couple of times in one day, but that might be the only day that I do it. Other times, if something comes up that I think is really valuable, I might share that. Or if I find something that a colleague of mine, let's say you, Michael, posted something and I feel it's valuable, I will share that. Okay, so many people happen to be on Facebook and they know about sharing and liking and commenting. LinkedIn is similar that way. I have a speaker colleague who's going out right now. He happens to be a disc jockey. He goes out into his community, sets up all his sound gear, and plays music in the streets. And everyone comes out physically distanced and they have dancing. I thought that was awesome. He posted a video on LinkedIn and I shared his LinkedIn video onto my LinkedIn profile.
Mm-hmm.
And people have engaged with that just because it's fun and uplifting, and we need more of that right now. So you have to look at what your comfort zone is. If you want to do it every day, that's fine, but keep in mind, very important, when you post, if people respond to your post, even if it's just as simple they hit the like button, you need to engage with them. Now, obviously, if you have a really popular post that goes viral and 1,000 people like it, you'll find yourself going down that rabbit hole trying to respond to everyone. But when I first put up a post, if I notice a few people just like it, just give it a thumbs up, I comment and I tag them and I say, Michael, thanks for the thumbs up. And I tag Michael because he's the one who liked my post.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes people will respond and say, oh yeah, my pleasure. I thought that was really great, that tip that you shared. Now you have a conversation going, okay? So just be aware that the more that you are posting, the more you need to pay attention to the engagement, which is always important. So that's why I've started to go more to like once or twice a week as opposed to every day.
So is that the algorithm that kind of puts the posts up at the top? Is more engagement on your post means that you're more likely to see that at the top because of the algorithm?
The more you engage, the more LinkedIn likes that, okay? So it doesn't guarantee that you're going to show up at the top. You'll also notice sometimes you might see in your thread a post that shows up in your home feed. And you go, but I'm not connected to that person. Why is their post showing up in my feed? Well, maybe somebody you are connected to and that person is connected to liked it or commented on it. And so you're seeing it because somebody that you're connected to has liked it or done something that engaged with that person. So the more engagement, yes, the more that you will start to show up higher in other people's feeds.
Got it. And in terms of examples of things that we should be posting, should we be posting videos, articles, other people's content? I mean,
all of the
above.
All of the above. So LinkedIn likes videos, like most networks these days. So if you have a helpful video, and preferably something that you upload to LinkedIn versus sharing your YouTube link, okay? Because if you upload it to your profile, it stays on LinkedIn, which is what LinkedIn prefers, as opposed to taking them off to YouTube. But videos, articles, you can even share PDF documents. And there's a button for each of these things when you're looking at posting something on your profile.
Mm-hmm.
Thing to keep in mind is when you're on your homepage, at the top, you'll see it says, I think it says start a post, which is a simple update. And you can write some content and include a link or put a meme with an inspirational quote. But right under it, it says write an article. If you click on write an article, then it opens up a window and it kind of looks like a blog if you're familiar with WordPress sites. So you can insert a photo and you can insert a headline and you can insert content. If you're going to write an article, put a byline in there that says, you know, this was written by Michael. He's a speaker and he's the executive director of Fraternity Foodie or the Greek University, and have links that go from there to your website. If you're taking, and this is just what I do, if you're taking something that was a blog on your own website and you're putting it on LinkedIn, I put at the very bottom, this was first published at, and I give them the original link to my blog on my website.
Got it.
So yes, all of the above. And you can, you know, you can create what we call an editorial calendar. that says, oh, on Mondays I'm going to post this, or once a week I'm going to post a video. Maybe one time I'll post an article. Maybe another time I'm just going to post an update. Or as somebody mentioned, if you're going through someone's feed and you see something of interest that they shared, you can share it. So then you don't have to worry so much about what am I going to write today? Oh, Michael posted something interesting. I'll share that with my audience.
I love it. Now, Tish went to go and connect with you on LinkedIn, and she was wondering what's the difference between following and connecting, because she noticed on your profile she has follow.
So let me see about doing this here. I'm going to go up here. I'm going to go to new share. Oh, I don't have it pulled up yet.
Okay.
I was going to go to LinkedIn to show you what she's talking about.
Yeah.
But connecting means, so following me, let's see, did I stop this all together? Hi there.
Hi.
So connecting means now we're a first level connection. I can see what she posts. She can see what I post. As opposed to following, she'll see what I post, but I won't see anything that she posts.
I see.
Because we're just following. She's just following me. But let's see if I can real quickly go to LinkedIn and show you. And one of the reasons I have it set up that way is so that I get people who are really more serious about connecting with me. So let's go back here. And it might look a little different since it's my profile than it does when you go to see it. But here it is. So to connect with me, let's see. So I think it was Trish or Tish who said something about that. There should be a button that says more. You won't see it because this is my own profile and I'm on it. But if you click on that more button, then it should say connect, as opposed to the other button that says follow.
Right. And you'd rather have a connection because then that way both parties get to see each other's.
For people that I know, like, and trust, for people who are attending today, the connection, yes, is better. Most people want connections, but sometimes I get a lot of, for lack of a better word, bogus requests. So people can follow me, and then if they're more serious, they'll down the road go, oh, okay, now I know how to connect with you, let's connect. And they'll write me a personal request saying, this is how I do it.
Perfect. That was very helpful, Tish. Thank you. Any other questions? Any other questions for Debra? This has been really, really helpful. Thank you so much. I know that all the students and administrators and professionals who are on the call right now, I'm sure everybody learned something here today. So if you like this, please go ahead and share this video. I'll put this out on the Greek University social media accounts. So feel free to like it and share it with everybody in your network. So that way more people can get some great advice and some great help here from Debra. So I really appreciate you being with us today, Debra.
Well, thank you, Michael, for having me here. I want to just remind everyone, if you're going to take action now while it's fresh in your mind, okay? Because that's the best time to do it. If you wait like till a couple of days from now, you'll go, oh, what did Debra say? Unless you download the 10-point checklist, and then you'll get some reminders on what to do then. But thank you so much for having me, and thank you all for taking time out of your day. And stay safe and spread hope. That's my new mantra, spread hope.
I love it. Thank you so much, and we'll see you on the next episode. Thanks again.